This is a Tape Deck podcast.
Hello and welcome back to Inside the Runner Studio. This is your host Tom, and with me as always are Aaron, Michael, and Diana.
Hello.
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 And we are joined by our friend Greg. Hi Greg, how are you?
You're calling me a friend? I thought a couple of weeks ago I was your arch nemesis.
You were, but this is
Who threatened to take me out.
This is peacetime.
Podcast turf wars.
That was war. This is peacetime.
This is peacetime.
Okay, this is peacetime. Okay.
It was really Michael and I who wanted to
that's
talk
true.
trash.
Yeah, we kind of wanted
Tom
to
was
stoke
the one
fire.
who was like,
Yeah.
"No, let's be nice." Actually, I heard today that your email address is bigballspeloton@gmail.com.
It's embarrassing.
Gmail.com.
Yeah,
Gmail.
I asked for your email address from Tom, and that's what Michael sent. And I was like, for some reason that bounced back. I don't know what happened.
God.
Oh, God.
So if anybody needs to get in touch with Greg, that's how you
Yeah,
get it.
yeah. Try that email out, see what happens.
happens.
Anything, if it returns, no problem.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Oh, gosh. Clearly, we're talking to Greg from Rise and Run podcast. And Tom and him had a friendly little competition.
What was
for the
it? Will
Peloton
Rise
Challenge.
and Run for?
Will Rise and Run foe
No,
Will Rise
foe.
and Peloton foe.
and Peloton foe.
Yeah,
Yes.
foe.
Who knew there were still character limits?
Yeah. Who would have thought it? Maybe that's why Peloton stock is in the trash. Maybe. Yeah.
Could be.
That's
Oh
so
my
funny.
gosh. That competition was so ridiculous in this household. Like,
I was so happy when you started traveling for business
oh my
because
God.
I could take a day off. I'd watch like your workouts and like, okay, so is he on today? And it would get like later, and I'm like, okay, he's probably in bed, so I can go to bed.
Like, he would be so excited if you didn't do a ride. He'd be like, thank God I don't have to get on the bike.
Oh my
But there
God,
were
that's
like
amazing.
days where you do it kind of late, and he would just get out of bed at like 11:30 and go do the bike.
Oh my
I'm
God.
like, what are you
Tom's
doing?
hardcore.
He's
Tom
like-
took it a little hardcore.
He's like, Greg just got like 20 miles. I've got to like do something.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I was just at the doctor and I was complaining to him of some hip and knee pain. And of course, they sent me down for x-rays. I'm thinking, oh God, what's happening? Right before dopey training starts. And all of a sudden I was talking to my run coach and he was like, I bet you it's because you run the Peloton too much. And I was like, oh damn.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
That was fun. That was fun though.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
And that was for
Okay.
charity?
that was for charity.
Okay.
Yep. So I made a $48.60 donation to American Cancer Society. So
And
the best was when you guys said it was going to be 48.60. I asked Darren and I was like, why in the world did they pick
that
48?
is the weirdest number. I'm like, 48.6?
Oh,
And he's
Michael.
like,
I was like, oh yeah.
He's like, that
That's
seems
right.
like such a weird number. I'm like, it's not that weird.
I'm entrenched in the Run Disney community.
Oh my
in case you
gosh!
did not know.
The
Clearly.
funny part is that he runs just like the Disney Marathon every year for the last like 5 years. But
God.
anyway, Tom, get us back on the rails. Get us back on the
Okay,
rails.
so Greg, you know the format. We're going to ask you some running related questions, some random questions, just get to know you. But before we do, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I'm Greg. I live in the suburbs of Philadelphia. My quote-unquote running career started probably sometime around 2012-ish. I got engaged. We had my wife and I had a long engagement because the venue that she wanted was like booked out for 18 months or whatever. And I've always been a pudgy, stocky guy, and I was like, okay, I got to make these wedding pictures look good. So I decided that, I need to lose some weight. I'm like, I'll just, give running a try, even though I was one of those kids, in elementary and high school where, when it was the Arnold Schwarzenegger American fitness test and, you had to run the mile,
God.
you dreaded it.
Mhm.
But decided to, give that a go, and then got hooked with it. My first half was Rock and Roll Philadelphia.
Nice.
Made that race and that whole organization rest in peace. And then all of a sudden I found out, and I don't even remember exactly what it was and how I got tied into Run Disney. I want to say maybe I happened to be on YouTube and I came across one of Gerald Resnick's Res Runs videos on YouTube. And it actually became friends with him because found out we both went to the same college in Philadelphia. So we became friends and got hooked in Run Disney, and now part of this podcast and got to know you fine folks. So that's, a little bit about me, my quote unquote illustrious running career.
And we had Bob also.
Yes, the
from
man,
Rise
the
and
myth, the
Run.
legend. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, according to him, we inspired him
Another-
You did.
to start
you did. Absolutely
podcasting,
did.
which is just really weird to us.
Yeah,
But
well,
Listen,
yeah, because you're like, if these idiots can do it, anyone can. Like, come on.
True story.
Well, the thing is, Bob needed a retirement project, and he
Yeah.
and I had been
Yeah.
friends for a
Yeah.
while, and
Yeah.
he knew I had editing chops and,
and
stuff
he's
like
got
that.
that
So it's
broadcast voice.
Oh, absolutely. He
Got
is
that
our Walter
broadcast
Cronkite
voice.
to
Yeah,
the
Oh, for
industry,
sure.
and I
yeah.
love it.
There's none of us have that charm.
Oh my goodness. All right, so guess we should jump into some of our questions.
Yep.
And then, Greg, you're lucky because we don't have to waste a ton of time talking about the podcast this episode like we did with Bob, so we can learn more about you.
There we go.
I feel like Bob, we got a little Bob, but it was mostly podcast. So, all right. Do you have a favorite run of all time? It doesn't have to be a race, but a lot of times it is.
Sure, yeah. I would say my favorite run of all time, believe it or not, was actually not a Run Disney race. A few years ago, I did the Hershey Half Marathon. Unfortunately, they don't
rest in
do that
peace.
race anymore.
I know.
And it was one of the greatest things because I had read all this stuff online about how damn hilly it was, and that scared the crap out of me. And since I've started running, I've always been a Galloway runner, so doing the intervals and everything like that. I somehow, don't ask me how, ran the first 4 miles of that race without stopping.
Oh wow.
And then didn't start my intervals until
Wow.
after I got out of the park. I really appreciated that you got to run around, the Chocolate World building, and did about a mile and a half in the park. But what I really appreciated about the race was there was about a whole 5K's worth where you ran through the Milton Hershey School. For those people that don't know about the Milton Hershey School, it's a place for very disadvantaged children who unfortunately just don't come or don't have the best upbringing. If they need a place to go to live and foster and be educated, they live there with essentially like host families. And what I appreciated about that was, even though it was the hilliest part of the course, every single cluster of homes, all the kids were out giving you high fives.
Oh,
They
that's
had signs and everything like that.
Yeah.
And then, it was neat, finishing up on Chocolate Avenue and everything like that. It was an awesome race medal. Not to mention, it was super cheap at the time. And your race registration included 2 tickets to Hershey Park.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
there's always on my list of things to do, and then they stopped running the race.
I really hope they bring it back one day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so do
I hope so too.
I'll be out there.
It was always the weekend of Baltimore, and we all know I'm a huge fan of the Baltimore Half Marathon. It's just I don't know why we always end up doing that instead of
She
Hershey.
hates that race.
I hate it so much, but there was one year where I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna skip Baltimore this year and I'm gonna do Hershey, and then it was gone, and I was so sad.
So, Greg, what is your what is your go-to post-run food or drink?
What?
Aaron,
What is your go-to post-run food or drink?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I can't speak tonight.
That's quite all right. Actually, I don't have one specific thing, but I will say the thing that probably tasted the most incredible taste that I ever had post-run was actually my last goofy training run that I had the end of last year. I was supposed to do 26. I think I conked out at 24 and a quarter or whatever. And
Wow, that's far.
yeah, and literally I hadn't eaten anything all day besides, goos and, gummy bears.
Yeah.
So I was like, I need something. I was so close to a Wendy's and went into the drive-thru, and I got myself a large Coke Zero,
Ooh.
a chocolate frosty, and some French fries.
I'm telling
Salt
you.
never tasted so good.
Oh God, yes.
But,
I'm
I mean,
telling
not
you,
to
that
mention-
chocolate ice cream after a long run.
You know what? Actually, so believe it or not, Jeff Galloway actually prescribes that chocolate milk is probably one of the best things that you can actually have right after any type of run.
Michael's favorite.
That's why
Yeah.
he's my nemesis. He doesn't know.
But then bringing up the whole French fries and frosty thing, that was actually one of the desserts that my wife and I had passed out as a dessert hors d'oeuvre during our
that's
wedding.
awesome.
Do you dip your French fries in the frosty?
No,
Yeah.
I don't do that. I have to be separate like that. But
see, I thought that you were going to say that you
A
dip your
dipper,
French fries in your,
No.
because that's like a super popular
It is
thing
good.
to do.
yes, it's very super popular, just not for me.
Okay.
That's a cool wedding thing,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
Oh, is it my turn?
Yes.
Oh.
We're professionals.
Guys,
Oh,
get
sorry,
it together. This is
I was thinking about
embarrassing.
Wendy's and
You're-
shakes.
You're embarrassing us in front of Greg, who's going to go
Yeah,
to Bob.
I
and
am
be
so
like,
happy you said that, though, because when I was dopey training, I used to stop at McDonald's and get a chocolate
Yeah.
milkshake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was
Well, we don't-
right where I'd run. And you're the only other person who has said anything remotely close to that. And I thought I was like the
Well, the
only
reason
person
why
on the planet that did
The
that.
only reason why I wouldn't is because I'm lactose intolerant and I would blow up my stomach.
Well,
Okay,
McDonald's,
yeah, we
you
don't
can't
want
get-
that.
sounds-
I don't think there's any dairy in the McDonald's one.
Yes,
No,
there is.
I don't know what it is.
There is. But I do like McDonald's now after a long run.
Yeah, it's true. It's good. So, what are your ideal running conditions?
I would say low dew point. It's funny. I actually check the dew point actually before I check any temperature because I know
good
that's a
idea.
big factor for me. I'll take a nice light breeze. Probably my ideal range is high 40s to low 50s. Actually, I had those conditions when I ran Cherry Blossom 10 miler this year, so that was absolutely
Oh,
perfect.
Mm.
A couple clouds in the sky, so that way my fake bald head doesn't get burned too much. So yeah, I would say that's about the ideal.
do you run with music?
Ooh, controversial.
Yes. So it all depends. If it's a long run, I'll mix between music and podcasts. Shorter runs, I'll just do music. And then I have a specific Run Disney playlist, so that's where I get my Power Line and Disney attractions and stuff like that. But then I have another playlist that's the most random stuff you'd ever believe, from NSYNC to Stevie Wonder to my boy Trombone Shorty. So it's
I love
it. Bill Conti's instrumental music from Rocky and stuff like that. So it spans quite the gamut.
I didn't hear Dave Matthews on there.
I do have one or two, but it's unfortunately not my number one go-to. Unfortunately,
Well, yeah,
funny.
no,
You
no,
guys.
That's something that you kind of just want to sit and enjoy the music. You don't want to be doing anything else.
I mean, Crash is one of those if I need to slow down, and get my heart rate under control. Yeah, sure, I'll listen to Crash.
Oh.
It's funny. The
Well, you
opposite
guys just
happens to
had
me.
You guys just had an episode semi-recently. That was the mixtape remix or
Yes.
Yeah, the
mixtape
mixtape
or whatever.
episode,
Yeah,
yeah.
the mixtape
Yep.
episode. So
Yes, and that's where I dropped that I appreciate the Nelly remix of NSYNC's Girlfriend. Yes,
Nice.
Oh, that's
proud
right.
to admit
Yeah.
that one.
Yes.
So because I was just gonna bring up
That's
some of the
right.
stuff you admitted to on. That's funny. That's where I was going with that. Anyway, I was just gonna say that's where I learned that Greg is a Nelly NSYNC fan.
Oh, my
absolutely.
God.
Yep. Bring it.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So funny. Oh, have you had a running injury?
I did have plantar fasciitis at one point, like everybody else in the world. I'm actually still dealing with a little bit of Achilles tendonitis, and then, as I mentioned before, now I have this weird, sharp pain from my hip to my knee, thanks to the Will Rise and Peloton faux challenge.
Yeah.
But of course, I don't know if that's specifically it. But so I've had a couple, but nothing.
Have
nothing
they
too
knocked
insane.
you out of? Yeah, have they knocked you out of running for a while, or how'd you recover from them?
Thankfully, with the Achilles tendonitis, it was just one of those things where it never really knocked me out. It was just I needed to adjust things. And one of the things that I appreciate about the Galloway program and working with Coach Chris Twiggs is there's this one method that is called gwinning, named after Kevin Gwynn, who's big in the Galloway community, and it's an interval of 30 seconds light running and 2 minutes of walking.
Okay.
And I would do that for a while to get myself up to speed or like warming up or whatever. And that's a blessing, because if you just put a little bit of pep in your step in that 30-second run, especially if you're doing a Run Disney race, you can have miles well under 16 minutes per mile. And believe it or not, for the marathon this past year, I did that from mile 15 on and finished well in front of the balloon ladies. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Nice. We're going to move into the random questions, and
Okay.
I highlighted this one specifically since you are a Disney fan.
Mhm.
Who is your favorite Disney character, live action or animated?
I'd have to go with Pluto. I really, he is who I gravitated to as a child. But I would say, like, in adult age, though, I'm a massive Muppets fan. Me and my boy Fozzie Bear. So I don't know if you would technically consider him a Disney character per se. I mean, I know he's representing the parks and stuff like that. But if we're gonna go
I
OG
would.
Disney, I love Pluto.
Oh, I love
Okay.
the Muppets so much.
Did you like all the new Muppets stuff that sort of came out, and then it kind of all disappeared?
The Jason Segel movie,
Yeah, that one.
I really enjoyed that one. I was not as big of a fan of the Most Wanted ones or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did enjoy the TV show that they did. I wish they wouldn't have abandoned that.
It
Muppet
was
Haunted Mansion was
so
great.
good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we
Muppets
watched
now,
that.
Yeah, we
I'm
did.
a little iffy on or whatever, but they got to figure out the whole friend of Kermit thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I know there's a whole controversy, and the Henson family actually supports the firing and stuff like that. But they got to get that figured out. And then once they do, then Disney needs to get its act together and get them in the parks more and stuff like that, because
Mhm.
great
Yeah.
great moments in
Was so
history.
good, yeah.
Was so good,
Yeah.
and they need to bring that
It
stuff
was
back.
so
I
good.
agree.
That was
Yeah.
one of the best things they had done, just like as a casual, like, if you catch it thing in the
Mhm.
park. But
Absolutely.
like, I'm a super Muppets fan, and that TV show that you're talking about that they did was so brilliant. Where
Yep.
it was like a reality show. It was like
Uh-huh.
a backstage. It was so funny, and I think
It
I
just,
watched
it just
Muppet
breaks my
Haunted
heart
Mansion
that
like 5
Frank
times.
Oz wants nothing to do with Disney right now, and that just breaks my heart. But
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
So what is the one album you could listen to any day or time and get lost in it?
okay, so for me, the one that I can get lost in, he's growing in popularity. I think I mentioned him before. A gentleman by the name of Trombone Shorty. He put out an album about 10 years ago called Back of Town. And what I love about him is he's from the Treme province of New Orleans, the Treme parish of New Orleans, and he just mixes jazz and funk and rock, all together. It's a collection, an awesome collection and melting pot of music together. I've seen him live several times. I actually rang in New Year's with him. He did a concert in Philly.
Oh, wow.
Years ago, got to meet him and got his autograph and stuff like that.
Oh,
but
very
just
cool.
the way that he transcends music, and the fact that he does it at such a young age, in the way that he does it, I love that album Back of Town and anything else that he puts out.
So good.
That's
He plays a
awesome.
lot of festivals. We've seen him a few times at
Yep.
kind of bigger festivals.
Yeah.
Foo Fighters did a
Yes,
4th
he's
of
big with the
July
Foo Fighters.
concert.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A couple years ago when he was there, but I feel like I've seen him other places. Yeah, awesome.
All right, Greg. What is the last film that you've cried at?
Oh.
I am a man for admitting this. Ghostbusters Afterlife. Because if there is one movie that defines my life, it is Ghostbusters. And the fact that, obviously they needed to do something grand and glorious to make up for that terrible reboot. Don't at me. But the way that they were able to incorporate the ghost of Harold Ramis and the way that they ended that, I was fighting back some tears on that one. So, Ghostbusters Afterlife. Because, hell, the day that Harold Ramis died, I remember the first reaction I had was his famous line to Walter Peck was, "Your mother!"
Oh, so great.
I love that.
All right. If you could be a member of any TV family, which would it be and why?
This is an easy one. I want to be with the Golden Girls.
Yes.
Because
So
I
good.
love the sassiness of all of them. I love it. I feel like I kind of empathize with Rose a little bit because I can be gullible as the days are long. But then I also appreciate Sophia because she reminds me of my 95-year-old grandmother. I mean, she is quick as a whip, and she'll knock you down 3 pegs real fast. So yeah, love the Golden Girls. Actually, I am signed up for a Golden Girls virtual run. My stuff just came in the mail
Nice.
the
I think
other
I've
week.
seen that on Facebook.
Yeah, so a coworker of mine who's also big into the Golden Girls, her and I are going to do that together. And it came with the shirt, and actually made a donation to Betty White's charity.
Oh, that's
Her
cool.
animal charity.
For her animal charity. Yeah, so
Yeah, that's cool.
I'd be down there in Miami with the Golden Girls, at the table eating cheesecake.
Love it.
All right. If you could be a superhero, what would your superpower be?
I don't, sometimes, I try not to obsess over things too much, but, if I could have as much information, as possible, at my disposal to make the best and proper decision, I guess that power would be helpful in that.
I don't know that I want to. I mean, would it be like one of those things where like you could always hear people's minds going, or could you control?
I would
like,
want to
what
control
you...
it. I want to,
Okay,
like, kind of like I want to be able to listen to you guys and be like, okay, this is what they're talking about, so I can take it back to the Rise and Run crew and be like, okay, let's talk about this first.
This is how many people listen to their podcast.
Exactly.
Now we have numbers. It's so funny.
And now it's time for the race report. No, I'm sorry. This is the as we discussed, we also had a race report. Very
Oh,
different.
God.
Anyway, this is the James Lipton Memorial questions. Rest in peace, James. And we begin with, what is your favorite word?
Kerfuffle.
Ooh,
Oh, I like that
Good
one.
one.
Yeah, that's a great one.
That's a good one.
That is a good answer.
What does kerfuffle mean?
Like a
I was
scrum
kerfuffled.
or something like that.
like
Yeah.
a melee or something
Yeah.
like that. I guess.
Okay.
And what is your least favorite word?
I don't know if I necessarily have one, but I'll go with a popular one, moist. I'll say that on behalf of my wife because I know she hates that.
That is a popular one. We recently, as in
Talked
like
about
a
it.
few minutes ago, before you were on here, we're just talking about that word. But I do enjoy a moist brownie.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And Greg, I feel like we're on a little bit of a different level. We went on a journey together. It was an epic battle. So I'm going to look you in the eye and ask you, what turns you on?
Imagining you on a Peloton bike sweating.
I tell you,
There it is.
it's a spectacle. It is a spectacle.
Is the answer to what turned you off the same answer?
It better be.
What turns me off is income inequality. But sure, I'll
There you
make
go.
that my answer too.
There you
Okay, that's fair.
go. Oh my God, I'm dying. All right. What sound or noise do you love?
My daughter's giggle.
Oh, that is
that's
awesome.
That's a good one.
That's a good
I mean,
one.
she could drive me nuts till the end of days, but if she says "daddy" and has a laugh behind it, it gets me
She's
every
little,
time.
right? How old is she?
She'll be 5 next month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there it is.
So
Yep.
she's still got the good giggle.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
doesn't text
She
you
hasn't-
yet.
Yeah, she's not old enough to talk back to, and like.
Oh, she does. Don't worry about that. She definitely does.
Yeah. It's different when they're 14.
Yep. And then what sound or noise do you hate?
This is all encompassing, and again, don't at me. Any country music,
Ooh, I'm with you
Fair.
on that.
it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. I don't
agreed.
need to know about how great fried chicken is in your green tractor and your red Solo cups and no, I don't have time for that. Music was created for a reason, and it wasn't to talk about that.
This is controversial now, but that's okay.
We're bringing the heat this episode.
All
Yeah,
right.
I love it.
What is your favorite curse word?
So I don't think it's necessarily a curse word, but I heard this on a Lewis Black stand-up a couple years ago. Feathers. I don't know what it was about that,
Oh,
but when I heard that, I was rolling on that one. So yeah, I'm gonna go with hers.
I've never heard that.
Yeah.
That is.
Where did you say you heard that?
Lewis
A
Black.
Lewis Black
Okay.
stand-up. Unfortunately, it's nothing great like Bob's, like Consarn It or Dagnummit or anything like that. So I figured I needed to bring something a little bit more unique.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt? Was that the right question?
Yeah,
okay, thank you.
I actually would love to be a travel agent. I wish they'd make a lot
That's a good
more
one.
money.
Yeah.
It was one. I mean, obviously, being Disney obsessed, I'm like that unofficial person that friends or coworkers will come to. But I think it's also a part. My mom used to be big on before the internet and stuff like that, and she'd go through the guidebooks and stuff like that.
Oh,
And she had like her
Birnbaum's
own
guide.
like 25-page Microsoft Word document with
Wow.
terrible clip art or whatever that she'd print out, and I feel like I've embodied that over the years. So yeah, so I love traveling, whether it's for pleasure or for work and everything like that. So yeah, I think I'd be a travel agent again, but only if they paid a lot more money.
Yeah, exactly. And what profession would you not like to do?
Politician.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah.
That's
I feel
fair.
like there's a lot easier ways to help the world than
Yeah.
dealing with all that BS.
Yep.
All right, Greg. Well, I get the privilege of asking you a final question, but before I do, just wanted to say thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
This has been awesome. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Come on down. I as much of a Ghostbusters fanatic I am an equal Price is Right nut.
Oh, man.
So if God could embody Rod Roddy and tell me to come on down,
Oh, yes. Yeah.
that's what I would want to hear.
Oh, man, that is awesome.
That's a good one.
Are you a $1 kind of person, or are you like what was the last bet? $901.
Yeah, I'd be that douche that would do that. I mean, obviously, I thought you were going to go with the 420 guy. That's where I thought this was going. But no, trust me, it would be strategy, and I went out for a couple of Bob Barker's last tapings before he
nice.
retired.
Man,
that was
that's
actually
awesome.
my
Yeah.
spring break, my junior year.
Wow.
And
that's awesome.
I made a promise myself that if I got up on the contestants row, I'd figure out a way to bet $1. So,
Greg, before we let you go, do you want to plug anything? Talk about your social media or
I
your
mean,
podcast?
you plugged it enough. The Rise and Run podcast, we're a weekly podcast, and it's been quite the journey. I do some podcasting for my everyday job. But I enjoy editing a podcast about Run Disney a lot more than I do about glaucoma or dermatology or something like that. So, we're on, as
Imagine
Bob
that.
likes to say, wherever fine quality podcasts are sold, you can find us at Rise and Run Pod.
And
Very
guys,
nice.
there are competitions, so
Yeah, it's very heated.
Yeah, it's very heated.
Yeah.
Extremely.
And
so heated that we have each other on each other's podcasts and laugh all the time. We hate each other that much.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
gonna propose something here out of
Oh,
the blue.
God. Oh,
It's
God.
always
Oh,
wild
God.
when this
Oh,
happens.
God.
Does it require Tom and I
Listen.
to get on the Peloton again? And
Look,
and-
I'm just
God.
saying, there's this little race called Rockin' the Knob.
Oh God.
Greg, you live in the area. Rockin' the
Oh,
Knob, not
my.
necessarily in the area. It's in
Oh, my,
South
my.
Central PA. It is a great trail race if you'd ever like to enjoy
trail race. My God, I can already imagine twisting my ankle and I have to
Tom
take a few steps.
you.
did the 10K
Thank
last
you.
year.
God.
Tom did the 10K last year as his first big technical trail race.
And it's technical. It's steep. There might be
I feel like you're gonna have to give him incentive, like we
big
gave
climbs.
Tom. Like Tom's thing was if we get so many reviews. So what
Yeah.
is the thing for Greg?
Mm.
If they get if 10 of our listeners go and review the Rise and Run podcast.
Rockin' the
Yes,
Knob. I'm just gonna make
It's
up.
not worth it, Greg. It's not worth it. I'm not doing it.
You guys are really selling this.
I love the race, so I'm not gonna. But it is. It's hardcore.
It's a challenging
hardcore.
race.
Yeah.
But we really are going to have to. I mean, you are so local to us. We are going to have to find a Philly race or something to.
I can't
together.
wait to awkwardly come up to you guys in an airport again.
That was very fun. That was so funny.
Also, you should teach Bob that this is Michael.
Yes.
with
so
Erin.
funny. Oh my god!
Because the last episode he did the same thing and we almost died.
I loved it so much. He's so nice.
He's so nice. We love him. Michael, Erin, Tom, Diana.
There
The
we
two
go.
bald guys. It's hard to.
Yes.
Look,
It's hard
just
to
ignore
tell
the
us apart.
upside down pineapple on their wall behind them. It has nothing to do with
God.
that. Or anything.
All right. Well, this is where we awkwardly say thank you for being on,
Thank you, Gavin.
and we will talk to you later.
Bye,
Take
Greg.
care.
Bye.
Bye.